Invitational continues. We have Enegon versus Nakezuma. Nakazuma's playing a Seeker of Void KB deck, Dragon Splash, so I'm assuming Ancient Masters. Oh, I'd have guessed wrong. Ancient Masters, 2 Let Goes, and 2 In Search of Self, which is the worst Miramoto's Fury. Everything else appears to be a relatively standard-ish KB deck, except for the fact that we have an Emperor making an appearance, and 1 Dairu probably for help against Crane. Beyond that, nothing's terribly shocking, I don't think. Well, one Mono no Awari is kind of weird, and only 2 Stokes. Interesting. Enegon is playing a Keeper of Water Crab deck, Splashing Dragon as well, except he went for Hawk Tattoos and Togashi Acolytes and 3 Let Goes, which is not what I would have expected. Whatever those alerts are what those alerts are. We do have 3 Sharpened Tsuruhashi, probably because he intends on killing his own people. You are a big fan of that, aren't you, Medalia? Yeah, this looks like a fairly straightforward crab deck as well. Let me let them know that we are good. And let's get that full screen, minimize this one, and everything looks like it's going well. Let's go! Chess clocks are good, cool. What else do we have that's a surprise here? Really nothing. Forged Edict is the RL card of choice for KB. Court Mask for Self-Dishonor. That might be a little redundant with the Acclaimed Geisha House and Edicts. No Rumor Mongers though. Okay. And we are off. Let's see. Pardon me. Alright. Nakezuma flips a Illusionist, a Curse Catcher, and a Geisha House, and an Emperor. Enegon gets a Kaiju Envoy, and Kisada, Keeper Initiate, Shrewd Yusukis, and a Yusuki Broker. Always be crabbing is a valuable lesson. Only buying 1 character is not the way to start. It doesn't seem to be punished yet, which is fine. Curse Catcher is currently turned off. Enegon bids 4. Start getting a little bit of honor pressure there. There we go. That was highlighted for some weird reason. Well, I think the reason Curse Catcher gets ignored a bit is that it's Seeker rule only, and they keep printing cards that seem to make Keeper the de facto role of choice. The added influence lets you get more power cards from other clans, which is kind of unfortunate. Right. Military Void. We get the random dice roll, so it's no one's fault but fate. And find Shameful. There's a defense. We'll probably see... Oh, Shameful doesn't fire, we just see an assassination. Way of the Crab would be really good right now. I probably would have triggered Shameful. Is Enegon running Way of the Crab? Yes, 3 of them. We see an attempt assassination. That gets cancelled. That's expensive and is going to hurt. Kind of surprised Shameful's not firing. There's a Sharp Stick. I actually just finished reading the Crab novella, and I didn't hate the Nezumi in that. In all the old fiction, I just couldn't stand the way that they were written, and they made me want to gouge my eyes out. But not this time around. Okay, so we see pass. Nakezuma gets the ring. There's a funeral pyre to draw 2 cards, gain a fate. Is Nakezuma going to drop a conflict character? Ancient Masters and Sadakos. Sadako would be really good here. We see a Tessin instead. What are we going to do? Probably Military Earth. And it's going to run in City. And that's exactly what we see. There's no defense and a pass, so it looks like this is going to be real quick. Enegon loses an Ornate Fan. That kind of sucks a little bit since he's about to declare a political conflict. Heir to Punish. Goes back to Shameful. So in an ideal world for Nakezuma, he drops Sadako and Geisha rings over to water. And we're going to see Geisha over to fire. Oh, Keeper of Water. Right, water would be a terrible idea. Although, without the fan, getting the political bumps is going to be kind of hard here. Watch Commander comes down on the Shrewd Yasuki. Now I have a different dog having violent dreams, apparently. So, that's the thing. Apologies for those noises. Court Games honors the Yasuki. Let Go kills the Watch Commander. You people come here for pet noises, don't you? We see conflict end. Sadako stands off KB. Political Heir at Shameful is a phenomenal hit. This is looking like it might be a quick game. There's a break. Alright, so turn 1 clearly in favor of Scorpion. And that Emperor, I think, is going to grind the game even more. Enegon pitches Casada. Needs to go a bit wide. 2 students is good. Dispatch shoots the Yasuki. Kyuden Hida looks for something that will be useful against oh man, Governor Spy 2. Governor Spy gets bought with 2. Enegon kind of forced into buying 2 students now. Otherwise, there's going to be a rather unfortunate Stoke insurrection. Is Enegon running conflict characters? Oh, he's got plenty of conflict characters. He might be fine. Does buy the 2 students with 1 fate each. Both players bid 3. It definitely looks like the board is in favor of Nakezuma at the moment. Water at Revels, it's the Governor Spy, which is fine, because if he wins, he can straighten it. Um, this is clearly just to deny keepers. There's defense that's quite likely just to be for prevent the dishonor or prevent the honor loss. Uh, Bonsai and Kick keeps forgeries offline, which is not nothing. Still breaking, so pass. There's another sharp stick, or perhaps the same one. There's the answer to Bonsai, and I imagine we're going to see a double kick. Nope. Probably does not have forgeries then. That's a risky play. That took some balls. Uh, there's another Sadako, so this is going to dishonor to take air at this point, right? Because then he's at 1 honor, he can't attack, because then he just loses to unopposed. I think this might be the quickest game I've ever streamed. Sadako gets blanked. That does not feel good. And I imagine the student that got sacrificed was the one that triggered its ability. So that student still hasn't been used, which is useful for conflict characters, which he kind of needs to drop. Although if he had a conflict character, he probably would have played that and dropped and sacrificed that instead of the fated student. This is a rough spot. Alright, Governor Spy really likes to look at that stick. Not sure. Yeah, I was going to say there's nothing that can be done to stop that. KB is going to stand the spy. And then the spy is. It's a fancy stick. People covet that stick. I think you go. Water? Yeah, no, not water. Why do I keep saying water? Probably fire to dishonor of a student. Nope, decides to go earth. Still for political, so that's a break. So Nakezuma is attacking box next turn. Oh, does decide to go fire. Okay. So Governor Spy triggers, so he's going to take advantage and get rid of a problem card. There's a pass. There's a break, and chooses not to discard. Okay, so that's probably a holding. Student gets dishonored. So what is going to be on Enegon's box? Kuni Wasteland. Okay. Season Award, decides to keep the Emperor. There's a Kachiko. Gallant Quartermaster and Eager Scout. I think you have to seasons here. Goes for a Gallant first. I think you get the Kachiko here. Yep, which is what Nakezuma goes for. So the assassinate can definitely kill the or the student. Kachiko's probably going to get blanked from the Gallant, dying to the student. I think Enegon needs to storehouse, sack the student to the pyre, and then fire off seasons. I guess you can cute and heat it first. Gets an envoy. Oh no, sorry. Pitches an envoy. Gets a broker with 2, so we're not going to see the seasons or the pyre trigger right now. That is going to give Nakezuma an opportunity to do things, though. Because I assume most of the sacrifice effects are going to hold off until the broker's in a conflict. Whatever provinces is Nakezuma running? Courteous Greeting, Way to Duty, Midnight Revels. Revels is probably under box. There are no good places for Enegon to attack. Uh, 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 uh. Okay, there we go. There's a Way of the Crab. Sadako is the one that gets crabbed. That is most likely correct. Eager Scout is going to blank out Kachiko. Still presents a little bit of a problem for Enegon, though. Military Water. I don't like that. Going with the student military water, a little better. Hits cash. That's, I guess, the least bad thing that could happen. So, if Nakezuma didn't have a third Sadako, does he have 3 Sadakos? He might now. There's a defend with 2. No reason not to defend with the spy. Denies the sack outlet. But the student will still do student things. Enegon passes for shame to bow a student. That presents a problem. I think getting keepers was kind of important. I don't think there's a whole lot he can do to answer here. He is on common cause. A hawk tattoo would be okay as well. You could tattoo in the broker, and then, well, no, because then you lose to an unopposed air ring. Yeah, it's not great. Common cause will help, but then you don't have well, then you can sack a keeper to a student. But you're also kind of relying on Nakezuma not having an answer. Okay, tattoos the scout in. So we need to see another card come down. Let go on the stick. There's an ancient master. I think it's kind of funny that there's a lot of focus on this conflict, and it's basically all to see who can get one more point of force, and the numbers are at 1 and 2 right now. Usually you see, oh, there's a watch commander. If Nakezuma doesn't have an answer for this, I'm pretty sure he's just going to turn it into a void conflict, maybe? Makes it a fire conflict. So there go the keepers. So Kachiko's probably going to get dishonored, but I imagine we're going to see Kyuden Bayushi stand, the spy, and then we'll see a start void into Kuni Wastelands, a Stoke Insurrection, and then one of the characters will get dishonored into an air ring. That seems reasonable. The only issue being that, well, what's this other face down province? Right, we've seen City, Shameful, Revels, that's Kuni Wasteland. Fertile Fields might actually be a better poke. Yep, we see the Earth conflict get started. Nope, went for void. 3 to 3. First action is definitely going to be blanking the Kachiko off the student. Otherwise, things are going to go sideways. You can't let Kachiko play an assassination or ornate fan or court games. Decides to kill the student to do that. That feels awkward. Okay, Guardian Kami. I don't expect we'll see that trigger, but that is going to stop a stoke and swap. But at the same time, Nakezuma should pass here. And that doesn't matter. Well, I guess courtesy and sincerity do matter a little bit. God damn it. Go away. You are banned. No one wants to be famous. Does Enegon have any one-cost conflict characters? He's got Slovenly Scavengers. So he's not going to be able to attack back. Winning this ring doesn't super matter. We'll see the spy get stood up and go into Wastelands and probably win the game. There's that. Enegon needs a Slovenly Scavenger for defense if he has it. Or Common Cause, right, that's a thing. Man, this is super awkward. So you stand the Spy or Kachiko. Stats are going to be the same anyway. Decides to go with Kachiko. And then go. Well, no. Enegon can't really attack here. And did Geisha House get used already? Yes, it did it for the. Yes, Geisha House has already been used, so there's no swapping earrings. So ignore everything I've said for like the past 3 minutes. Yeah, I think Enegon's in a very tight spot right now. Decides to go Earth. Going to go back to cash. Going to risk air. I don't like attacking into this because the only cancel you have is Defend Your Honor, so if Nakezuma has a Stoke. Okay, defends with Kachiko and passes. This game going to be much tighter than I initially thought. Because at the end of his turn, Nakezuma is going to go down to 2 honor. Possibly 1 if Enegon wins the ring. I always find it remarkable how the fewer cards you have in hand, the longer it takes you to decide what to do. So there's a pass. Nakezuma is going to retain favor, but he is going to drop down to 2 honor. Things are getting kind of scary. Nakezuma clears everything but the Geisha House. There's a dispatch. That's a big deal. And there's another Kachiko. Also a big deal. You are on the play, so I think you. Okay, you went to shoot shoot the broker. That's probably going to force seasons immediately. Because buying the gallant to generate money and cards off the funeral pyre means that Nakezuma buys Kachiko and gets passing fate. Decides to cute Hida. There's some Greek I don't understand. Buys Casada with 1. So you buy Kachiko. There's the gallant. I assume Nakezuma's going to pass. Nope, buys a beautiful entertainer. Way of the crab protection, I guess. He could also use it to do a cheeky 2-bid. Because then that'll switch honor totals and turn on the entertainer. But I think at this point you just walk forward, or you go political earth to get all the monies, and then swap it to air off the beautiful entertainer. Okay, so here we are. We have a Kachiko, a governor spy that is not great. Oh, you're right, Medallia. The holding is gone. So you just walk forward on air then. It's not like you really need the money for much. Kachiko gives you plenty of access to pitchable cards. You know, you can play a bonsai, just be like, oops, that got canceled. So this is just a straightforward walk into Kuni Wastelands on the air ring. And now Enegon needs to find 12 force? 10 force? No, hang on, there's a Kachiko. Needs to find 15 political force. Looks like there was a question about Kuni Wastelands, maybe? I don't know. My Greek is exactly non-existent. So, how much can... Oh, I guess the governor... Oh, no, Governor Spy can't burn Kasada because it's the Kuni Wastelands. So... This is basically on Enegon to play up cards. If he has a watch commander, that gives him a lot more space to work with. But then he still needs to be able to just dump out a whole bunch of cards. Nakezuma can always burn Kyuden Bayushi since he has a dishonored character and is under 6 honor, so that can be a sacrificial Kasada action, which would let him play 1 card. And there's the Watch Commander. So if Nakezuma wants to play a card, he's got to Kyuden Bayushi, but he is in a very commanding position here that he doesn't need to do anything. There's an Acolyte. I don't think that's going to be enough. Even if he plays out the other cards in his hand, it only takes him to 9. And he does not need to win. Alright, there's a Court Games on the Entertainer. There's the Sharp Stick. Oh crap, even playing 3 cards, it's only going to take him to 9 now. It doesn't matter. Sends Kasada home. And presumably that's a concede, since he's looking at his deck. Because, yeah, there's nothing he could do there. So, that actually turned into a bit of a game. I think it very much slanted in Nakezuma's favor very early. Those 2 assassinates were super risky. And just accelerated everything. Alright, I believe as of right now there is one more game that's scheduled today for the Invitational. I might be able to get that one. Depends on how other things shake out. But if there's any others prior to that one, I will be more than happy to stream them. Thank you all for joining me, and hope you had a good one. Bye.